Okay, so hello, welcome back. So today we'll be talking about file path traversal with the scenario based. So as we have already seen what file path traversal is in a previous video, you can check that out to understand the basics. So today we'll be discussing about traversal sequences blocked with absolute path value. Now first let's understand what these traversal sequences are or what does it means. So traversal sequences are patterns that are used to navigate up the directory hierarchy. Now what do you mean by navigating up? Navigating up, that is, you are moving the one directory up towards the root directory. So if you understand the directory pattern, so the topmost directory is the root directory, then we have the subdirectories below that. So navigating up means we are moving closer, like one path closer to the root directory. Okay, so now let's understand in the Unix or Linux this format is used, that is dot dot forward slash. So it moves up one directory. Then in Windows we use dot dot but backward slash, so it also helps to move up one directory. That means, say if you are in a etc password directory, so from password directory you can move to the etc directory. Okay, so just one directory up. Then you have multiple sequences. If you use the same thing multiple time, it helps you to move multiple levels. So if you are using it one time, it will help you to move one time back. If you are using 2 3, accordingly you can move up. Okay, so example is this, the http example.com load question mark file. This is the parameter, and what value you are giving here? Here you are giving, you have to move 3 steps up from etc ssh shdd config directory. Okay, so you will move back to that. So this is basically a what we call as a relative path. You are not directly giving the directory that you want to move to, but you are giving a relative path. So this is what we call a relative path. So let's understand what absolute path is. So as you can see, absolute path bypass. So why I have written this, if we move back to the topic name, you can see it, we are trying to understand what this means, that is traversal sequences blocked with absolute path bypass. So let's understand what that means. So absolute path, so it is used to bypass traversal sequences, which we saw in the previous example. It is used to bypass traversal sequence filters by directly specifying an absolute path to the target file or the directory rather than relying on the relative traversal sequences like dot dot forward slash. So as if you remember in a previous video of file path traversal, we have provided the relative path to get or solve the lab and get the value of the password, right? So but now like in the absolute path, what we do is that we don't give the relative path, but we directly give the path where we want to move. Okay, so let's understand this with an example. For example, instead of using http example.com load file equal to the relative path where you want to go, an attacker might use the direct path. Okay, so this is how we will be solving today's lab. Okay, it's practical time. So today we'll be looking at the PortSwigger lab, which will help us to understand this scenario properly. So let's open the lab. Okay, so I have already opened the lab and run the lab, and this is the question. So let's first understand the question, then we'll move on with solving the lab. Okay, so this lab contains a part traversal vulnerability. Okay, the vulnerability is present in the display of product images. Okay, so this vulnerability is present in the display of product images. The application blocks traversal sequences. It blocks the sequences. That means if you're putting dot dot forward slash dot dot forward slash, it will be blocked. It will try to filter it out, but treats the supplied file name as being relative to default working directory. Okay, to solve the lab, retrieve the contents of etc password file. Okay, so just get an understanding of this. So I've already started the lab. What we will do is that I'll start the pop suite here. I'll move this here. Okay, so if just a minute, we'll go to proxy http history. So these are the basic sites that it has already navigated, just the generic ones. Okay, what we will do is that now we will turn on the intercept. Okay, after that, as in the question it was written that it is in the product images, so what I'll do, I'll try to open any kind of product. I'll forward the request. It says product ID. Okay, this is of no use, I believe. Let's try to forward all the requests. Forward. So yeah, so here you can see, just like the previous lab, here you can see we have an image file name is equal to 30.jpg. so this will be of use for us, so we will send this to the repeater. Okay, so I'll forward the request. Okay, so I believe it's done. So this is the repeater. We'll go here. So as per the question, if we check the question again, this blocks the traversal sequences. Okay, so what we will do, we have to find the value of etc password, right? So I'll copy it. So if it is saying that it blocks the relative path, what we will do, we'll try to give the relative path and let's see what response do we get. Okay, I'll zoom this out. Okay, send. Just a minute. Okay, now fine. Okay, so it says bad request, right? So it's not accepting the relative path. Let's try to remove, maybe just I'll remove the two of them. Let's check. No, still no, right? So let's just give it etc password. Let's see what's the response. See, so it is directly fetching the value from the absolute path itself. We don't need to provide the relative path because the relative path is blocked here, so it will filter it out. So we just have to give the absolute path. So as we can see, just by giving the absolute path we were able to solve it. So what I'll do, I'll copy this. We will go to the intruder, sorry, proxy. I'll turn on the intercept. We will go back to a product value. Okay, so yeah, you can see our lab is solved. Okay, because the request was sent. So this is how we were able to solve the lab. We were able to get the values just by providing the absolute value. Okay, so yeah, congratulations on solving the lab. Thank you for watching. Have a good day ahead.